Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Now, there is a uniform sentiment out there with the people that, the yesterday party actually ended before it even started. Before the party could start, it already ended. I want to tell you something. When Kenya will need a president, by the time Kenya will finally need a president, history will note that one man by the name RAILA Amolo Odinga was a man that Kenya never had as the president. In other words, you can say history will note him as the president that actually Kenya never had. And so I just want us to look at what happened yesterday. I'm very sure you have seen what is now coming out as the reality, that the police were chasing empty convoy. The police were really after empty convoy. In fact, RAILA was not even there. The key strategic Azimio leaders were not even in the convoy. So I want us to take a moment and do a recap of what happened and make analysis of what that means going into the future, and what now will be available for the portrayal of the future demonstrations. So in the event you are coming to the channel for the first time, this is the place. Thank you so much for those who are watching us from the UK, United States, Canada, Germany, Qatar, a lot. And thank you so much, and continue watching the channel. God bless you so much. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And in the event you have not subscribed, please join the team. It is the best thing so far. The moment I noted, first of all, the major media stations halted, or stopped their live coverage, I knew there was something which was unusual. I also noted that the convoy was appearing to be unique in the first place, because from where they started, the uniqueness of the day's progress in as far as what they always do, it appeared to me that something was very, very unique. Otherwise, what I always know with Raila Odinga's convoy, where he is present, Raila has a strategy of positioning his supporters. Let's say he is moving from a given point, then there are supporters who are strategically planted at the next point that he's supposed to pass, such that as he reaches the destination, he gathers supporters and moves with them. And I always see Raila Odinga, the moment he reaches where the supporters are planted strategically to meet him and to attend the rally, definitely when he reaches that strategic point, he must come out of the vehicle and maybe wave to the supporters, say one, two things, and then they proceed. That was not seen yesterday. And at the same time, if you look at the trail from where they started to the point they reached the petrol station, I was wondering, why is Raila not even coming out at one point to maybe greet people? Because they were meeting people, they were meeting border borders, they were passing across, and actually people were waving at them, people were really shouting. It was very unique not to see even one point where Raila could come out, and that actually raised an eyebrow. Today's procession is really very unique, but there is more to that. Why did Raila Odinga miss? That is the first question that we are going to answer. Do you think it is because of the withdrawal of the security of both Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka and Martha Karua that the government withdrew, and actually that facilitated or contributed to them missing the demos? To a larger percentage, it will be yes, actually, because you cannot just approach the demos without enough security. Having known what has been going through, how careless some of the government officials and goons have been airing out, attempts to assassinate and attempts to eliminate Raila Odinga. If you look at the time that the government withdrew the security of Raila and Kalonzo, it was at the very, very last minute. So it kind of, the government strategically positioned itself to withdraw the security at the very last minute, such that if Raila was very ready to, start the procession with the team, then they had to go back to the drawing board, because they knew very well you cannot just go outside there. Otherwise, if Raila would have just gone carelessly like that, even after the security were withdrawn, it would have been kind of putting himself in a very precarious situation. It was very risky. And having known what has been transpiring the days before, he would not attempt to just go like that. Kalonzo would not attempt to just go like that. Martha Karua and the key leaders of Azimio, whose security were withdrawn. And you will therefore agree that that could have contributed to Raila Odinga missing, in action. And I realized also one thing, what I noted is that after the withdrawal of the security, and I saw Raila acting tactfully, kind of wisely in response to what the government did. And this actually is bringing me to interpreting a totally different scenario in this case. In this country right now, the country is at stake, and very many eyes outside the country and even those inside are looking at how the government is going to handle this situation. And as a matter of fact, yesterday we saw William Ruto meeting very high profile foreign delegations, where he was making the bilateral pacts, agreements to actually source workers from Kenya to go and work abroad, and actually I'm preparing a video for that. We saw him meeting key profile leaders from the foreign nations that are very, very much instrumental. And I noted one thing: Raila played some kind of a wise game with the government. When he sent the MPs to go and present the letter to the office of the president, that was a very wise move. And that was a wise move to kind of show that the first intention was not to go to the street, but to formally seek the attention of the president. But things always go south when the police intervenes and the police inflicts force. The moment they were dispersed, that is the moment we saw those MPs going to regroup themselves. And that is after a few moment we saw the caravan coming up. So it's kind of, after failing to be accepted by the office of the president, after police actually going rogue on them, that actually incensed the Azimio team. And one of the things that I think Raila wanted to know is how the government would react. Let's just take it that in the event the government accepted them, we would have had a different story altogether. We would have seen maybe the MPs, kind of having a sit down with the personnel in the office of the president, maybe them being allowed to present the letter like that, and just maybe at the end of it, we would have seen a totally different story. And at the same time, you will be questioning what is the intention of the government, because it is the government in the first place that actually encouraged Azimio to be formal in their demands. In fact, one of the formality requirements which the government was kind of trying to encourage Azimio to have is that, if you want to reach the president, take a letter to his office, go and sit with him, present what you want to him, and then you will be heard. And that is exactly what they did yesterday. So, in other words, Raila was trying to show, not even Kenyans, but to the world, that there is kind of formality that he was kind of trying to bring forth. And that formality was for peace at the end of the day. And the government acting roguely just denoted that, the larger blame should now be on the government and not Raila Odinga. If somebody is to question every move that Raila has been making concerning the demos, then this would be an evidence that, we tried to reach out, but you did not give us a listening ear. So I really believe that there was an intel which Raila received of the planned activities by the goons from the government, and exactly, specifically, who even planned them. And that is why in their press briefing, they were very categorical on even whoever sent the goons to burn the the tire, the trailer, and the bus. They were very specific. And so by Raila trying to avoid joining the demo, it is like, Raila, the government scored in their own goal. They always say after everything is said and done, what next? Now, what next for Raila Odinga? So this is the time that Raila also needs to bring in more people. And more people here, I mean, not only the fans who can actually come up whenever they are called, but even those, stakeholders, the third parties who accepted to work with him. Remember when he accepted to go into bipartisan talk with the president, we saw religious leaders coming on board saying, we want also to be involved. We saw, civil societies coming up and saying, we also need to be in the bipartisan talk. We also saw, serious organizations backing up the bipartisan talk and specifically, siding with Raila Odinga. And as a matter of fact, most of them were even attending the town hall meetings. And they were really airing their voices that if the bipartisan talk will continue, then they must be involved. Now, this is the time for Raila to compel them to come out and have a stand with him. Because when they come out, I think it would bring out more impetus, more force and more temerity to approach the next demo sweep. We are now just moving from the people-centered and bringing in more external force and including these third parties to form a concrete, tsunami. That solidarity is what is needed right now. I was listening to one of the political analysts yesterday, and he was saying that, according to him, there are, external forces that are kind of shaping how William Ruto is being looked at and being anticipated to manage the differences between him and Raila Odinga. And actually, you can agree to that. And so it's just a matter of time to see how William Ruto will give in to the demands and at the same time making an equilibrium balance between what the international community expects and what he really expects as a country. The only problem with William Ruto is, he is lacking the independence as the president. He only has the independence in appointments. He appoints whoever he thinks is suitable from his community. Otherwise, when you talk of the politics at play, he's kind of has left it to the people who are backing him to manage the political happenings, political decisions and everything. Otherwise, right now he's concentrating on who to bring to serve where. So it would be upon him to take a step higher and reconsider what he needs to give priority and what he needs to champion for in order to bring peace and make everything very viable for the economy to be sustained and everybody to see that at least you have tried to make peace and do something which is very constructive. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? What did you see yesterday? I know very many interpretations are there and very many deductions. We can talk, you can leave me a comment, you can share with me what you have, and I think let's meet in the next analysis.